welcome to everybody. I'm very glad to introduce you, William Porter, that you know already. And we work together in this day about improvisation. This word is very dangerous, always very, very dangerous, because somebody can think, okay, improvisation is not for me, so I can sleep, do other things, or maybe better spend my time practicing and not improvising, because I'm absolutely not an improviser. And very often also there is an idea, everybody says, yes, improvisation is a matter of talent. Somebody is talented, somebody not. So I am not talented, so I don't play improvisation. And this is the first big mistake, because this is absolutely wrong. Because everybody in the 15th, 16th, 17th century learned to play organ, harpsichord, and the education was exactly how to play with the right touch, the right fingering, everything. Music written, but meantime how to play nice consonances, meantime how to read and how to write down music. So everything was together. So all the organists from 15th century until Bach and later also Mozart or Liszt, Franz Liszt, were good improvisers. And what we can do is, there is only one way to learn, and this way is to work. And it's like at the beginning of the Second World, Charles de Gaulle saying, I promise you tears, blood, everything, so very big suffering for this. No, I think just work with improvisation is also very fun, and sometimes it's a nice work. And I always believe that improvisation is really a fundamental complementary work with performance. Because when you start improvisation, you have to pay attention to the patterns, the stones that create the building of a piece. And so when you like and look at this and understand this, when you move to play a piece, immediately come out, oh, this is good. Oh, this is exactly what, so you can better understand the music you are playing, better perform, better find the best solution in explaining, performing the music you are studying. So this is the idea. And what I recommend, just try to do. Now sometimes the reaction is, oh, it's not for me, no. We will try to do following one of the suggestions of the treatise, the typical treatise of the 16th, 17th century. One Italian, for example, but already Thomas de Santa Maria in Spain, Adriano Banchieri, in the Conclusioni nel suono dell'organo, a very little book but very interesting, 1608, writes that there are 4 ways of playing the instrument, the organ. The first is fantasia, the second is intavolatura, tablature, the third is spartitura, full score, and the fourth is basso continuo, throw bass. And he says, fantasia means to play, improvising, a real 4-part perfect contrapuntal piece. To do this, you need some theoretical information, but at first you have to play a lot of good music of the best composer of the time. So this is the secret. And then the second is tablature, how to make intabulation of a motive of a vocal piece. The third is spartitura, score, exactly what Frescobaldi says about fiori musicali. The good organist must be able to play directly from full score. Not very easy, but it's a good chance to understand better the polyphonic structure of the piece. And then basso continuo, Banchieri is not very happy about basso continuo because he says this is the new mode, it's very in today, play. And many people, they think that con 4 sparpagliate di mani, just going, running up and down on the keyboard and playing the basso continuo, they are very excellent organists. But this is not true. He says The excellent organist is the organist that is able to play a ben tirato contrappunto, a very perfect contrapoint in which we can listen to the four parts. So at the end of this day, everybody will be able to play a perfect contrapoint and we can listen to four parts. So, good luck.
So, he's right. Everything he said is right.
Thank you.
There were some wonderful moments in the last class, in the Frescobaldi class, especially with Frescobaldi. And there was one moment that I found very inspiring and important for us to think about as we begin this improvising adventure together. And it was when Francesco was mentioning to sing a portion of the canzona, and he did it. And he sat down and he played at the keyboard just as singing. And it was a wonderful moment because all of a sudden the phrase became clear how it could sound. And suddenly we had a new window into a kind of enjoyment of the music that was not quite there before. And often we come to summer courses and to academies because we want to learn, therefore we want to get information. And so we come, as teachers, we think, and it's important to give lots of information to the students, so we make handouts and we do all these things. And the information is very important, and you've gotten very good information. But sometimes the information is not even the most important thing. Sometimes the most important thing is the new perspective, the new way of hearing something, the new way of looking at an idea, the new way to experience. As Francesco says when he says, you have to taste the harmony. Imagine, what an image. It's worth coming to Smarano just to get this image. Harmony is something you have to be able to taste. And when that door opens, then we have a new understanding. So this is, I think, behind what Travacci is saying in this preface that Francesco talked about. Through study of these pieces and through careful attention to these pieces, you will discover the spirit behind which I made these pieces. And the only way we can come to the discovery of that spirit is through study and repetition. To do the work over and over and over again. So we're talking not so much about making a product. We do that too. We make an improvisation and maybe we like it and maybe it stands on its own. But we're also talking about a process of study that we do over and over and over again. And then we discover, maybe years later, maybe not such a long time later, that we have a different understanding. And that's the wonderful moment. That's what we all hope for. So if we take this nice experience from the last class where suddenly I understand that in this particular piece, it's not so much about how you articulate, it's the joie de vivre of this moment, the joie de jouer, the particular feeling of elation that this passage in Frescobaldi gives us. And if we experience this and we project this, then we have come to this greater understanding. What if we were to take that kind of thinking and apply it to this new topic of improvisation? How could we find those windows into understanding that would help us to understand improvisation better? Because we come to this subject, everybody, with our own ideas about what is improvisation. I was just reading the other day, Charles Tournemire. We all like Tournemire. He was a brilliant composer, and he made wonderful improvisations and wonderful compositions. And he writes in his précis on improvisation, he says something to the effect that preparation is entirely foreign to the idea, the true idea of improvisation. So we should all just go home and forget it, because he was expressing in his preface this thing that Eduardo just said is wrong. That it's only a question of talent, that it's not preparation that counts. It's totally antithetical to the true idea of improvisation. My reaction was, Charles Tournemire, did you say that when you were a student practicing your improvisations every day for long hours, which we know he did? Yes. So I think maybe he had some other idea in mind when he wrote that. But when we read it, it can be very dangerous, because it gives us, from a famous person, the wrong idea about improvisation. Improvisation has always been, to a greater or lesser degree, the work of composing while you play. Not only while you play, but especially while you play. So it means that the locus, the place where composition happens, is right there at the keyboard. Not so much at the desk, but at the keyboard. So it brings performance and communication and composition all together. So we're going to use as our models some versetti, some versi of our new friend Travacci. And this is a very beautiful orange book. This is the second book of the two published books of Travacci, edited by Armando Caradeo. One of the many important reasons we are grateful to Armando. This is a wonderful edition. It's available upstairs, I believe. So everybody should, when they leave Smarano at the end of the week, you should have this, both volumes. This is a fabulous edition, and within the second volume are the 100 versi, 100 versi, 1615, and they are spectacular models for composing while you play. Okay, so instead of saying improvisation for the next few days, we're going to say composing while you play. And we will begin by taking the advice of Santa Maria and Banchieri, and we will study the great works of the great masters. So please take one and pass it down. We have some excerpts from these 100 versi, and I chose about 10 of them, ones that have especially interesting or important subjects. Subjects that if we learn how to use the subjects, we can do many things. Okay. How many people have studied counterpoint before? Mm-hmm. Good. So, Robert, yes? David Williams. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So, slow. Sorry, I'm slow.